Hello, so I'm on for a bit. I'll be on for an hour. So yeah, a lot of you will know about this already, but I imagine a lot of you won't. What's quite interesting yesterday is the police came round, wanted to ask me some questions. It wasn't a very serious thing. I think somebody had seen something on a YouTube video, was a bit worried about it, reported it to the police, and they just did an obligatory, we'll look into it kind of thing. But yeah, it was a very strange experience to have, having the police ask me about thorium and Geiger counters and all that. But there we go. So hopefully that will be the end of it, but it means the police actually watch this channel, which is quite interesting. So, it's quite interesting, isn't it, if you're on a watch list or whatever. But, yeah, everything was all right. I've got a video on it tomorrow explaining it, but basically they just, said they didn't have to come in if I didn't want them to. I didn't have to speak to them, but, I was perfectly happy to answer questions because I've got nothing to hide, because everything I do obviously is totally legal, and I wouldn't do stupid illegal shit on video and put on the internet where people could find it. It was basically just asking me some questions, finding out everything was totally legit, really, and then sort of good evening sort of thing. So yeah, basically, Elizabeth Windsor says, "Do not worry, dear. I control the police. You are not in trouble." Well, I offered to Connor if they wanted to, but I think they were really not very concerned about it. Eltrix, thank you very much. He says, "Oi, mate, you got a license for that." They didn't take that attitude at all. They basically knew I could legally own everything I had, so it was more just wanting to know why I had it. And then, for testing of Geiger counters or whatever, dosimeters, all that sort of gear, you need check sources to test they work, and I store them properly. And then that was pretty much the end of it. They said, "Oh yeah, the Chernobyl TV series was good. Well done on your 83,000 followers," or whatever they said, because they'd obviously looked into me. But the thing is, I don't have a problem because it means they're doing their job in a sense. That I'd be quite worried, in all honesty, if you did have police that didn't know about, what people are buying online. Because again, I'd rather the police just politely question a few people, not even properly question them, find out it's nothing to worry about, than have them not want to do that and then have somebody doing dodgy shit that's going to kill people. I did have the 3.6 t-shirt on over this because the bloke said to me, the cop said, had I been selling any t-shirts. So there you go. Weirdly, I had the shirt on with the 3 number and the thing going off the needle going off the fin. It wasn't even about the gas masks. Yeah, I've been doing this channel since 2012. No questions about swords, no questions about deactivated or antique guns, nothing about that. It was about thorium lamp mantles. I don't know, Compot, I didn't ask him, but... Alright, mechanized and weaponized? I'm not going to bother getting it down now, because I'd have to climb over everything. But yeah, it was a very surreal experience, though. George has given us a corona update because he's got corona. He said fever is 105 Fahrenheit this morning. Cough's still there. No troubles breathing. Very, very tired. Been taking immune system boosters regularly overall. I feel like I've hit by a damn truck. Right, hopefully you're doing all right, though. Rest up, because that's what you're meant to do, isn't it? Rest and let your body fight it, not keep trying to power on and do stuff while your body just needs to rest. Asking me about thorium, Jake, because I've done videos, proper ones now. Asia Research Directorate, but yeah, it was just because I've done videos on like Geiger counters and radioactive check sources. I think they wanted to check out, I wasn't doing anything bad with them. And then as soon as, I think they knew that from the get-go, from sort of what they were letting on, but it was just more of a case of checking that, I wasn't doing anything bad. I said, did they want to see any of it? No, not really, So there it was. I think it was just more to confirm they'd been to see me and that, for whoever said, "Oh no, he's got a radioactive item." That's my theory, Altrix. Like, obviously the police don't tell you that. They just say, "We know this stuff's online, obviously, where you do videos, and it's come to our attention." That's all like they say to you, really. But I don't know why though, Lorganar, because I mean, I suppose it could be if somebody was getting kilos of the stuff with bad intentions, but I'd never intend to do a podcast because I just do YouTube videos. I very much doubt that, Infinity. Because the thing is, if police haven't got a warrant and you offer to show them stuff, they probably would want to see it if they thought it was a problem. Because, you know, that's where you don't have to show them stuff. But if you know, if you say, look, you can come and see it if you want, well, they're like, yeah, no, it's... No, I'm not getting down any of the sabers or anything already said. No, I'd have to get a knife to get this off. You know, it'd be quite difficult, wouldn't it? Right, CW, so I'll start from the beginning again. The police came round about this sort of time last night. Luckily, I'd streamed during the day, so it wasn't an issue. They didn't interrupt me in stream, but it was just wanting to ask me some questions about Thorium, where I've got some of that for videos. But, yeah, I think that was literally it, White Wolf. Like, I think it was just from the beginning they didn't think it was an issue, but probably had to say they checked it out, and then very quickly realised, you know, it is a waste of police time to be asking somebody, you know, about why have you got something that's perfectly legal you're storing safely. Yes, I know, Mozzo. That's good, George. At least they're checking on you. It would lower your risk compot, but it wouldn't get rid of it. Daniel, thank you very much. He says, I'm not asking anything on the stream today. It definitely wasn't you, because it would have been, because they'd obviously looked into me first, because, you know, that they said, oh, sorry, it sounds a bit Big Brother, but, you know, I think what it was, in all honesty, is just, there's YouTube videos I've had up for like about a year, you know, with Geiger counters and that. There's some even older than that. Somebody who probably didn't like me said, right, I'm going to report him to the police for that. They said, right, we're going to have to come out and look at this, but it's probably not very serious. And then I think they came out, realised that was the case very quickly, and then it was like, right, we're off them. But, you know, it wasn't like, it wasn't a thing with a warrant, you know, it wasn't what they call it, cautioned, when you're told, you know, that you have to be careful what you say because it can be used as evidence. It wasn't any of that. It was just a case of, you know, basically just asking me a couple of questions to check, you know, I knew what I was doing more than anything, I think. Yeah, I don't know if it was actually through purchasing at Lorgar or it was just through the videos. Because bear in mind, if you do YouTube videos on it and you had malicious intentions, that's a bit of a dumb thing, isn't it? Because you're basically advertising you've got this stuff. No, they didn't have any PPE, but they observed social distancing, White Wolf. It was just literally a CBRN officer, you know, checking that, you know, all was well and good. And exactly, Fungus Power, who I've just blocked, is the exact type of cunt who I thought might have done it. Somebody basically whining about Jewish conspiracies. Well, let's be honest, the person who's got a fucking brain dead problem is you. Yeah, there's a Discord for donators. Yeah, Max. Yeah, oh, yeah, they'll try and requisition them soon, won't they? But, thank you, Max. They observe social distancing. Whoever was saying about they shouldn't have come into the house. Yeah, George has more of the story, don't they, Rat? Nah, it wasn't even that, Grobnot. It was nothing to do with masks. It was to do with thorium. As in thorium lamp mantles, you know, the things that people used to use all the time as a light source. And then, you know, when people realised maybe thorium isn't the best thing to have around fire, or it's floating around as ash, it's now just a thing people buy online a lot as a check source. Oh yeah, Jake, because the thing is, I think a lot of the time police are probably quite sensible. I think with swatting, it's more of when they think it's a hostage threat, isn't it? No, William, because I'm not exposed to anything more than background. That's the whole thing. I store it safely. This is the whole point, you know. That there you go, 0.19 microsieverts. That's probably a bit less than background in some areas. That's the point. That, you know, if you're sensible with it, you're not breaking any rules and all that. And this is the exact thing that some people don't understand how radiation works, and oh, it's terrorism. Yeah, I know about that. Drive me closer, but I'll tell you what, I'll hide your comment just because at the moment stuff like that might not be a good idea to talk about. I'm not getting rid of you or anything. But yeah, with what's going on, it's probably best not to chat a load about that. All right, cool. Max, is the 717 and 715 of the big long sort of lead that you can put the ion chamber in a separate place? All right, cool. Did you just sign up on Patreon? Thank you if you did. Yeah, cool. It says you signed up. I'll invite you. Let me just load Discord back up. Right, add friend, Rob Knob. You got your name right, thank you. Right, as soon as you accept that, let me invite you to the server. Why would I lie about something like that? Well, Sharon, I'm not going to make lies. No. In metal containers with lead shielding, Bloody Monday, and just further away enough from people that you need to. No, they literally weren't here 5 minutes. If that, it was more just to check. Like I said, I was happily answer any questions they asked me because I got nothing to hide, and then it was just, I think, more of a case of, all right, time for us to go then. That's interesting, Magic Monkey Dust. Yeah. But yeah, it was literally because, like I say, I obviously check that all the stuff I've got on that is, completely legit. I wouldn't buy stuff if I wasn't sure on it, and that's why. Yeah, I know about David Ham George, but yeah, that's why. Like I said, I never do videos because, like I said, it's a Darwin Award, isn't it? If you've got something that's illegal and you show the world you've got it, it's a stupid thing to do. So like I said, if I'm getting anything to do videos on, I make sure it's all legit first. I mean, I know with some laws, that's where it's really difficult because you're reading legalese going, is this is this allowed? Is this not allowed? But, with everything I've read, everything I've got's completely fine. Yeah, I'm completely fine. Right, Dr. Terminator Show, I'll start the story again from the beginning for people just coming on who didn't hear. Yesterday, the police came round to check why I had thorium stuff, and it was a very short visit. I think it was somebody reported me online, like we were saying. Thank you, Ralph. And the police had to check it out. I fully cooperated with them, and very quickly, I think they realised that it was either a waste of police time or they had better stuff to do. I've got 2 C7 masks, Arctic Sniper. They're kind of rare, kind of not. They're ones Britain mass-produced, but then recycled or destroyed a lot of them. Thorium's an earth metal, good cats. It's like, with uranium, how uranium's an earth metal that's radioactive. Thorium's just a bit like that. But thorium was never used for nuclear power because you can't make nuclear bombs with it, unlike uranium. So basically, it's with thorium, it's one of those things that, yeah, it's radioactive material, but for the most part, people only get it because, you can use it with Geiger counters in it. Why do you think, Sibba? Why do you literally think? It should be quite obvious. More people watch it, RJ, is the answer to that. Swaggerino says, thorium is very dense, like 90% of the comment section on 5G video. Yeah, well, that's my point, Roger Moore. All right, Laser? It's basically, I think there's some sado who reported me because, I don't like you. And then the police basically just did their job of investigating it, finding that there was nothing worth looking into, I assume. And Like I said, I fully cooperate with them because I'd rather, as said, if there are cops that look into this stuff, they look into people and rule stuff out, and not look into it, and then somebody goes and does something stupid. Yeah, well, I hope they do pay for the door fuzzy farm fan if they kicked in the wrong door. George said he's been to 2 uranium mines. They are very eerie places. You can see the walls glowing with UV light, and our Geiger counters kept clicking and clicking. Yeah, they would do, because I mean, uranium. This is the thing. It's relatively low energy, from what I understand. A lot of uranium in terms of like the danger from the gamma rays and that. But because most of it is U-238, not U-235. But yeah, it would glow in the dark, and it certainly would make the Geigers tick because it is counting them. Yeah, thanks, Roger Moore. Well, they'd obviously been looking at the videos, but as I said, they basically, I think, just came to check and then say they weren't worried about anything. I didn't hear that, Max. I heard Trump saying he was doing it, and thank you again, but it doesn't surprise me because the World Health Organization has really not been very good about this. The big problem with the WHO's been that they get a lot of funding from China, and they help China cover stuff up, either directly or indirectly, just because, they wanted to appear good to one of their donors. Yeah, cheers, Dan. That's, I think, exactly what it was. I think somebody, throwing a shit fit because they kept breaking the rules. And in all honesty, I think it was probably one of those sad little neo-Nazis that hates the Jews, blah, 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 blah. No, fuck off, I'm not having you on my stuff. Go be a Nazi somewhere else. And then, it's, I'm going to grass you up to the coppers. And then, yeah, all right, then I'll comply fully with the police because I've got nothing to hide. So, but like I said, the police, if the police are looking into me, fair enough to them. I'll cooperate with them. We have a Bill of Rights deaths move, but it's not really a proper one. Elizabeth says, I hate those bloody tea-stealing Nazis. Oh, now Trix got rid of the message. Yeah, what Singh said. And CDC said that's what the Nazis did. They would sell out their friends and families to Gestapo. Yeah, sad, isn't it? But... Well, I don't get that, Wow Sharrow. What? So did the police say Wow Sharrow went in Tesco dressed like Lewis Collins because of you? Nah. No idea. eBay, maybe. Liberty's Breed, but I don't think you're finding any CBRN gear cheap at the moment. Somebody's spamming symbols in the chat. Well, there's problems in both countries, in all honesty. Like, there's places in the US where there's problems with, constitutional rights. There's problems in the UK, I don't have anything. The thing is, like I said, I have no problem with the police because they were very professional, very polite. They were doing their job. I was happy to comply. And nothing came of it. That's the, that's the thing, really, isn't it? That this is like what I said to people. I do not get the "am I being detained" people, because if you've got nothing to hide, and you're literally like, look, you can look at anything if you want to, because you've got nothing to hide. What's the problem? Cheers, Luke 7, dude. That's interesting. It's freezy, so well, like an old military one or civil defense one. China. There you go, Nate. China. I wouldn't live in a greenhouse, Matthias. The thing is, I think they should have training to carry firearms if they're carrying firearms, but that's an argument people can have till the cows come home, isn't it? Weather right now, well, it's evening now, but it was sunny all day, but obviously trapped inside because of social isolation. Sparrow, no, I don't, but I don't need one, and that was literally the entire conversation almost. Another spammer in the chat. I can check if you've signed up on Patreon. There's Magnus Schweiner. If you ask me for a Discord ID, I can set you up with one. Yeah, China's still a communist country. Well, I don't know how communist really, because a lot of these things never are they? Thank you, Chicken Balti. It's not a lie, Conker. They turned up last night. A single officer did, I think, as he was finishing his shift, just because he had to look into a report. And it was pretty much, I was honest with him. I've got loads of Geiger counters, as you can see behind me. Radiological equipment with all the other stuff. I've got it. I need to test it with check sources. The check sources are properly contained. That's pretty much all there is to it, really, isn't it? No, I've got some deactivated ones, Eli, but I've not got any replicas. Weirdly, I think sometimes replicas are under more strict laws than deacs here. Yeah, well, that's the thing, Rooster, isn't it? I'll turn that light off now because it's a bit shining in my eyes, but exactly, they have to look into it. They probably thought initially it was nothing. Like I said, I'm fully open to comply with anything, and then I think it was probably just a case of they've seen enough, How much Geiger counters usually cost? Very cheap basic ones that aren't much use, $20 to $30 or pounds, unless you end up getting just a good surplus one that's cheap for whatever reason. Pretty decent ones are going to be over £100 or dollars. The person who's spamming comments are turned off when he's on a live stream. So bye, William, if you're spamming the stream. No, I keep saying I don't have any C420 Papas. I've got no real interest in them. I don't know why you keep asking me about them. All right, Peach, you might need to mod the chat quite a lot tonight because we've already had a lot of spammers on and idiots and Nazis and whatever else. Oh, I'd have to know they were coming first thing to do that. That's the thing. But in all honesty, like I said, I've got nothing to hide, so. S10 gas mask. It's one of the merch ones you can buy below, actually. They're quite comfy, these Teespring hoodies. Not saying that just because it's my merch, but I mean, if you bought anybody's merch on a Teespring hoodie, the cotton kind of material they're from is just really sort of, nice and comfortable. Oh, good, Queen, you found a corgi-sized hazmat suit. That's fantastic. I don't know, Jacob. They've probably found me from some bloody Hitler hailing site or come on, and a butthurt one. Sorry, I don't want them here. The thing is with everybody, if no matter what somebody's political opinions are, if they just kept them to themselves, weren't rude to anybody else, I probably wouldn't care. But when you get people being literal Nazis, talking how much they hate the Jews and that, and then you've got Jewish people that support you, so basically you're kicked because, you ban people because they're being horrible to other people, and then, oh no, you're to blame because, whatever fucking conspiracy, I don't know. But, it's one that, for me, it's just a bizarre thing, in all honesty. I'm not unhappy, Magic. I think it was completely fine. No, I find the S10 head harness fine, in all honesty. Like, I've got the CT12 and FM12, and I prefer those, but I see no point in changing the S10 one unless it was broken. Does that Heartless Grey on Twitter, does it make people angry? I barely ever use Twitter. I've got one associated with the channel, and it was originally set up because it auto-shared videos. Now it's just so I can put a message out every now and then if I want to say I'll be on a certain time. But in all honesty, the most fun I think I get from Twitter is sometimes looking at Trump's tweets and how people react to them. Absolutely fine cloning around. That was the thing. I'm assuming it happened because, like we were saying in the chat, I'm assuming that somebody said, I don't like him, I'm going to report him on one of the videos where I was using a Geiger counter or something. Police came, I think very quickly they realised I was not going to harm anybody and I knew what I was doing with storage and all that. So, you know, it was all right, bye, basically. Yeah, the Red Forest fires at the moment. Another reason you might want a Geiger counter, although thankfully it's only about Kiev, isn't it, where they've got to at the moment. As you can see there, I'm at currently less than background radiation, less than 0.2 microsieverts, if it wants to focus. But yeah, it's potentially quite hazardous if you're inhaling radionuclides coming from burning, you know, stuff from around Chernobyl. The guy Sparrow, although he had his like little badge on his sleeve, he wasn't in like an FM12 and all that. It wasn't like a raid type thing. It was just politely asking me a couple of questions if I wanted to answer them. And like I said, nothing to hide. So, you know, if they actually wanted to come and see all the equipment, perfectly happy with that because I say it's all legal. You know, they can see it in videos anyway. This is the thing I was saying that's sort of silly is that you know, I do not understand people who would put stuff on YouTube if they couldn't legally have it and think maybe nothing will come of this. I've got some Trinitite, George. I've got some. Have I? Oh, saying about the Trinitite, have I actually put it in one of my lead sealed boxes? But I have got some Trinitite. It's quite cool stuff, isn't it? But I think I've probably put that away in one of my boxes. But yeah, I've got one that's like a little coaster type thing. So how the Trinitite, it's a bit of Trinitite, and it's in like a little nice coaster type thing. I bought it from Anything Radioactive. It's a nice thing, but yeah, the activity is so low on it. I think maybe if you measured it, you know, an hour on it on a Geiger counter and an hour of background, it would be maybe 1 or 2 counts per average, you know, higher per minute or whatever. It's a tiny amount, but right. All right, Eric, how are you doing? Thank you very much. Iodine tablets saturate the thyroid, done 263. Iodine tablets only actually protect you if you take them in advance, and only from thyroid cancer caused by, is it iodine 131 or iodine 141? I'm trying to remember the name of it, the isotope, if it gets into you. But it's one of those things I think you think from films and games, you know, if somebody takes an iodine tablet, they're immune to radiation or something, you know, it's like your Rad-X or your Rad-Away. It doesn't work like that. It's something you have to have prior, you know. They'd rung the doorbell rather than knock. I assume it'd be perfectly legal. I mean, again, all this stuff though depends on the laws of your country, doesn't it, or state or whatever? Because there's stuff that's legal in the UK that's not legal elsewhere. Obviously, a lot of stuff that's legal in the US that isn't legal elsewhere. You have to look up the laws from your country, you know, and understand it. No, it's only the opposite way around, Massimo. The idea was those adapters came in when lots of nations were slowly switching from 60 to 40mm masks. So it's just to add more longevity to the 60mm masks. It depends what you mean by CBRN protection, Stratus. But if you mean little nitrile gloves, it's a bit of something between you and a chemical. But ideally, you want proper thick, like butyl rubber gloves, don't you? Yeah, thank you, Zarek. As I said, a bit of an interesting thing yesterday. There'll be a video on it tomorrow, basically explaining the whole thing for people that are interested. It's just more of a bizarre thing, you know. You're not expecting that, are you? Just sitting at home one evening, I was playing Gary's Mod, playing a bit of zombie survival. All of a sudden, my dad does, "Oh, pleased to see you." You know, that was it. But I said it was literally 5 minutes, if that, because I think, you know, it was more they were just, you know, checking up on something. were perfectly happy with the answers I gave them, because I said they could come and see anything if they wanted to. But that's good, Ben Blogs, if she survived it. I mean, you can get people that are lucky and unlucky, can't you, that sort of stuff. I don't know, Nate. I mean, I assume you could always put a custom harness on it, but yeah, I'm not a massive fan of those Russian rubber straps. I think the P90 is cooler, Abdo, but sadly, legally, I can't own either. But theoretically, the P90, because it's like the OG one, isn't it, out of those like kind of pistol rounds that were intermediate rifle rounds. What do you mean by a B8 check source? Sadly, some people still aren't wearing masks. The thing is, not everybody would have to wear a mask, but it's just a sensible social distancing, and that's the problem. Some people still aren't doing that. Yeah, Connor, when I saw that, it was the whole, it's under control, in the Chernobyl TV series. It doesn't look under control on the first episode. It reminded me a lot of that. But again, it's not exclusive to communism. A lot of time when governments fuck up with that stuff, they'll say, oh, it's under control, and clearly it's not. Camera rig, right, I'll show you what I use. I use the microphone on the camera because it's good enough for basically everything I want to do. This was quite an expensive one. I bought towards, I think it was the back end of last year. It is a Canon Leggera, or whatever it's called, HF G50. It's 4K, but I only do videos in 1080p because 1080p just processes better and all that on like video rendering and that. It's like one of those sort of semi-professional film cameras, where you can use that bit if you want to, or use the side screen. But it was just more because obviously I've been doing YouTube so long. I wanted to get, and quite a lot of people have suggested it, even people that have donated. Could I get a really good camcorder for like really good images? So the nice thing with this one is it's very rare now I film a video even if it's in low light and it doesn't look good, because it's it's a camcorder, unlike the webcam type thing, that works really, really well even in dim rooms. No, I've not heard of that. What do you mean, the MP5 submachine gun Abdo, or the MP5 Polish gas mask? Asher, because somebody, I think by the sound of it, reported me for having thorium in a video, which was perfectly legal. I explained why I had it, because I've got Geiger counters and all that sort of stuff, That's why I've got it. So you can do all the checks on them, check they're working and everything, and not in here, Avon. If you want the simple answer, in a different room. I wish it did. I wish my house did have a bunker. Sadly, it doesn't. Yeah, exactly, Trevor. If you've got an illness and you want to protect yourself, fuck anybody that says, a vulnerable person can't protect himself with a respirator or whatever, They like the fact I can make money with YouTube Ben blogs, And I think my dad just thought it was funny last night when the police wanted to ask questions. Literally, why did I have it? So I can test Geiger counters and all the things like that. How do I store it? Said, I've got it stored in ammo cans, a lead flashing around it, all that sort of stuff. That was basically almost it. Your nan, I think it's the butthurt Nazis that keep getting blocked, because I think they're upset I am not some 1488 Nazi loser like them. But in all honesty, I do not get people like that. And, I've got lots of nice Jewish subscribers and everything. Why would I have a go at them for no reason? I don't get why I'm meant to hate random people online just because, oh, you collect militaria, that must mean you're one of us. No, fuck off. No, they weren't having a go at me at all, William. It was more just a fact-finding thing, I think. And I think it was one of those things where they probably felt obliged to do it due to some sort of report, and they were completely satisfied. I think, well, I hope they were completely satisfied, but, you never know, but... Yeah, Grey Fox. Radium wristwatches would be very good as a check source. I mean, the thing is with radium paint on a wristwatch or something, different brands use different types of radium paint. And Dark was the famous radium paint, like American Radium. And those were, I think, quite hefty, like the old aircraft dials. Because you've probably seen some of the videos I've done with aircraft dials. But yeah, if you have an old radium watch, I'm sure it wouldn't, activate a Geiger, because even very basic radium watch hands are still, for the little watch hand, that's still quite an active check source. Roman, thank you very much, because somebody had reported me apparently, just because somebody had reported me for videos I'd done, I think, on Thorium or, Radium or something like that, with the Geiger counters. And then I think the police came to check and realised nothing was going on, What am I playing in quarantine? Mountain Blade, Bannerlord. I think in a bit, because people were recommending it to me on Discord, I'll get the released version of Black Mesa. Now that's out, Half-Life. Like the Half-Life remake, Black Mesa. But I've been playing a bit of Garry's Mod, Right, the person who's asking very suspicious questions, I'm getting rid of you. Apologies if you were being completely innocent, but when all this has happened and then you get people asking slightly dodgy questions, I'd rather be safe than sorry. Look up, like I said, look up the laws in your country and all that. Follow the laws in your country. If it's illegal, don't do it. Simple. George says, be right back. Going to grab on some more Jack Daniels. Good for you. He said, one thing about Corona makes you very thirsty. I've been drinking a lot of water, but every once in a while some Jack won't hurt. Yeah, I'm sure alcohol won't hurt. It used to be used as medicine a lot by people, didn't it? Yeah, I never really got into Arma 3. I don't think it's a bad game or anything, but I just really liked Arma 2. And I think I just prefer the setting of Arma 2 because it's kind of like modern day rather than being semi-futuristic. Yeah, they were completely reasonable, Patrick. If you watch the video tomorrow that goes on at midday, it's about that, and they were totally reasonable, could not fault them. This is what I've been trying to explain to people, because I know a lot of people, don't like the police or are suspicious of the police. The thing is, I've found whenever I've had to deal with police before, if you're reasonable to them, they're reasonable to you, And if they basically check up on something and you're completely open because you've got nothing to hide and say, do you want to see any of it? I don't think they were that fussed. I'm sure if you're ordering stuff from Kiev, it will be fine. But with the fires and and Corona, why not give it a wipe down and just be sensible? Well, the original COD 4, Ben Blogs and Gaming, I've not played online in ages on that, so I don't know if there's any servers still up for it. It sounds vaguely familiar, Vigel, but let's have a look. After Conflict. Is it After Conflict Lost War? It looks very basic, but it looks like it could be interesting. So is it like a kind of war game type game, but FPS? I used to like TF2 before they completely rebalanced it with all these sort of, weapons packs and that. Yeah, I love the Stalker games, Voodoo. And just for you, a kind of Stalker-themed thing. An old Berig Geiger counter. This is like one of the very, I think, early post-Ukrainian and Russian communist ones. Or late Cold War ones, but it's, it's kind of a bit like a weird hybrid before you got to proper digital ones, where, it's like a plastic case and it just, it beeps. So if I do a circuit check, you can see it obviously works, but yeah, it's one that basically just, measures. This one is basically tells you if it's green, it's normal background radiation. If it's yellow, it's a bit high, but nothing serious. If it's red, you should find out why it's that hot. It's not even one with numbers. It's just designed to be very, very simple. But I kind of like this because it's a very charming kind of old thing. But yeah, I thought if you like Stalker, you might find that interesting just because it's that sort of thing that you'd find interesting if you like Stalker. They're completely legal to own, Roman, so they'd be stealing property if they wanted to do it in their second hand. But the thing is, like I've said before, I would quite like to donate some of my masks that don't have much collector's value but are functional to doctors or whatever, because they're doing a really good job at the moment. But the problem is there's so much bloody red tape, because I was looking into this. What I'll probably do instead is there's some GoFundMe type things. We have to find obviously a legit one, not a dodgy one, where there's companies like producing stuff and they're doing it so the NHS can essentially get it for free. So what you're doing is just covering the price of their materials and factory stuff. So there was one, but I can't remember the name of it, where they were doing visors. So it was basically like the face shield type visors for stopping spit and that hitting you in the face, where people normally wear like a P3 kind of FFP3 mask under them. And they were doing it, and it was like essentially for every £1 you donated, I think they could kind of make 5 to 10 of these visors for the NHS. So, I was thinking I'll put 50 or 100 quid on one of those, but I need to make sure it's completely legit before I donate, because there's a lot of scammers at the moment. Trying to take advantage of people being generous when all this corona stuff's going on, or just trying to, scam money from people. In theory, not Roblex, because N100 in theory means it's particle protection rating of 100, but really it's 99.7 kind of thing. And N95 is essentially P1, as in 95%, but anything's better than nothing in terms of those sort of masks. Right, I'm going to need to do pop-out chat, because I think the stream chat's broken in the regular thing. Right, pop-out chat, is it still updating? Yes, it is. Oh, right, let me go back up and get the donation things. Sorry, I missed those, obviously, where the chat wasn't working. Altrix, $5, thank you very much. He said, once upon a time, they were dingus idiots. They keep doing bad things. They got banned from a Discord server and whined. No one cared at the end. Yeah, sounds familiar. I don't know where I've heard that before, but yeah. Brian says, thank you very much. He said, been loving your videos, very underrated channel, got some questions to ask. What's your favourite wool sweater? What's your opinion on Myra safety? All right, I'll do each one and then go to the next one. So, favourite wool sweater? Probably those old army woolly pulley type ones, because they're ones where you used to be able to get them on eBay, like Fiverr thing, you just wash it, and then they're a bit itchy, but they're very comfortable. So you could get, like the green army ones here used to have the sort of blue RAF ones, and then the dark blue, essentially black navy ones. And they were good. They're ones with like little epaulets on, but they're very comfy, and keep you really warm. They're great for the winter to wear under a coat. So yeah, army woolly pulleys. I don't know what their proper name is. Right, Myra. The problem with Myra safety is Myra doesn't make their own stuff, from what I understand from other people have told me. Myra just simply buys products and then puts their name on them and resells them for a higher price. So a lot of Myra gear is just Czech Republic military respirators or civil defense respirators sold for a higher price. And the most possible shit hit the fan scenarios, I guess, stuff with corona just going wrong, or maybe people looting or whatever due to lack of food, or crime, due to lockdown type scenarios, I should think. But I think corona itself is a pretty shit at the fan thing, isn't it? But thank you very much, Brian. I appreciate it. The Metro games, the only thing I don't like about, say, 2033 is it's a bit too on rails, pardon the pun, where it's a lot of cutscenes and stuff like that. Yeah, P3 filters can be used specifically for mold, spore type things, 33 Dave, that's one of their jobs. Yeah, great on new Digital X image, but yeah, that's the thing. That's like I was saying, I was trying to find the GoFundMes from the place that are legit, the ones doing that, because there were ones I heard about, but then I couldn't remember what the exact name was. But yeah, you're great for doing that, aren't you? Because the problem is at the moment is I think certain companies can, essentially do a lot of charitable stuff like that because they've already got the contracts in place to supply certain companies. The issue I found when I was just looking about giving old surplus masks away is they can't accept them because they're second-hand, or they come under a different protection rating than the stuff they're meant to use, Like, it's not a standard new FFP3 mask in a packet, so they can't accept them. Yeah, radiation devices, if you mean measuring devices, do need calibration. Modern digital ones, Art Traveller, not so much. The reason being, I'm going to close the chat and open it again in a minute because I think it might have frozen. But basically, with most old analog units, they calibrate them on something like cesium-137, which is radionuclide. How it works is basically a certain amount of Geiger counts equal a certain dose equivalent, say, for example, cesium. The issue is with analog stuff is they can drift, either way over time. So part of the tuning on an analog thing is essentially the voltage gets adjusted so it meets the calibration stuff. So if you've got a check source and you know exactly what it gives off from several, like new good condition proper things like a Terra P, for example, you can use that, and then you can, essentially manually tune the thing. But this is why you need check sources, essentially. Like going back to the Thorium, because you need them because you can't tell if a Geiger counter's working properly or the different ranges of it are working unless you've got something that's going to make it tick and have a rough idea of how much it ticks. Right, let me close the chat and reopen it because it's frozen again. I don't know why the chat's being so broken at the moment. Right, let me just check I've not missed any super chats, but thank you everybody. Yeah, Digital X Images messages at the top. Right. The problem with FP5 filters for GP5s is it turns out, Schwaner, that newer FP5 filters aren't GOST anymore. They're actually NATO. They have the same labels on, but they must have changed the tooling at some point during it. No, N95 is not better than N100. The higher the number on a particle filter thing like that, the better it is. Oh, so you don't know about it, Bots Toho. Basically, what it was is, by the sound of it, somebody reported a YouTube video. I'm guessing probably one of the neo-Nazis that got kicked off of the things. That's just my guess, anyway. About, where I've got loads of Geiger counters and check sources. And it was basically just almost a very casual visit of just, can we speak to you? Yeah, of course you can, and just explaining why I have the stuff to calibrate Geiger counters, check Geiger counters work. How do I store it, in metal tins with the lead sheeting around it, the lead flashing around it, in a place where nobody's ever going to be around it, so they're not going to be exposed to high and background doses of radiation. All right, fine. That's all it was. And I said, I know some people are like, oh, you don't have to tell the police anything, but if you've got nothing to hide, but, like I said, if you've got, old Geiger counter type things, you do need check sources to make sure they work. So there you go. But that's all it really was. And, the police were very reasonable, very professional, Right, so let's let me catch up with the chat. But yeah. So yeah, hopefully you just heard my answer then, because like I said, I had to catch up with the chat. But Altrick said somebody got triggered from my last donation. What did they say? I must have missed it. But thank you again for the donation. Vessa says remember to like the stream. Yes, thank you, Vessa. Yeah, Bioshock's a good game. I like all the Bioshock games, although Infinite I don't really like that much. But Paul says, I have a CM4 gas mask. What type of respirator should I get for it? Do you mean filter? Because the CM4 is the Czech respirator, isn't it? The Czech Civil Defense one. It needs a GOST filter, ideally a new GOST filter. But yeah, it is 40mm GOST as far as I can tell, the CM4. So I would recommend, if you can find one, the Briz one's going to be a bit hard to get. Where is that one I showed the other day? It should be literally behind me somewhere. I think they're called Avec, the Czech brand. It might actually be on the mask in the other room. But we found these seem to fit GOST masks all right, although again, some people say they won't, some people say they will. But unfortunately, Russia's PPE export banning at the moment because they want to use the stuff domestically. But the Briz or Breeze filters are quite good, all the Russian dot filters, and they're still made in GOST, so they'll fit on GOST masks absolutely fine. Yeah, there we go. Let me catch back up with the chat. Is a man not entitled to the sweat on his brow? Fast flight? Yeah, a Russian ROU mask would work out tricks because they're basically just a particle respirator. They're like modern versions of the PTM. No, Satire, the police did not come because I had masks. It's about the Geiger counters and all that stuff. Yeah, I've got the two old Vostoks. The one that was the Komandersky or the Komandersky Cadet or whatever it was called, Renzo, and the Amphibia. If you block the person being racist, do that on the mods if you're on. Sorry, let me catch back up with the thing. Oh, no, I must have been scrolled up when I read that. Thanks, Roman. He said, I snagged 2 Polish MP5 off eBay a week ago, $30 each. Should I be concerned with the authenticity of mask? Right, there's two things with MP5s. A lot of sellers claim they're MP5s, but they're actually the old French masks, apparently. I've done a video on the ARFA or whatever it's called, you know, that tan French one. The French ones aren't as good as the Polish licensed copies made of them. So, but even if they're the French ones, if they're in good condition, it doesn't matter. But yeah, that's the main thing, is a lot of the time ones called Polish MP5s are actually the inferior French ones. But mostly it's just, have they been stored properly and aged properly? Because the issue is with that kind of mask, the rubbers they're made out of, they don't seem to age all that well. You know, like where bits seem to dry out or the plastic goes a bit brittle. What was that you said, Mike, to Good Cats, No Cats? He said, I saw one of your videos on YouTube about self-defense, very nice. Was there another thing? Because I just wondered if it winds up the police when they see it, though. Winds what up? Sorry, Good Cats, No Cats. But yeah, no, the thing is, like I said, when the cop came, I was perfectly happy to let him know anything he wanted to ask about, because I've got nothing to hide. Everything I've got is legal, you know. I was saying, and if I've got something that isn't legal, it's because I've not understood a law that's not very well written. But, you know, like I said, everything I do, you know, I make sure it's legal, because if I'm filming myself with something on video, it's very dodgy if you know, show something on video and think nothing will come of it, you know. So, you know, I said if they wanted to, they could look at anything they weren't very concerned to, you know. But I'm all right, David, thank you. Yeah, chat seems to keep freezing tonight, Richard. I've had to close and reopen the chat a few times, but at least that works now. I think if somebody's trying to export an ROU to you at the moment, Nate, they very well might do, because they're trying to keep all the protective gear for themselves. What people mean by a bug out bag, you know, and if nobody else answered you, is just basically if you had to leave your house in a hurry and some sort of shit hit the fan type thing, you know, like it would be like food, maybe some cold weather clothes, that stuff. But it kind of really is for the person what they want in it, in a sense. So Cold War says, is the FP211 P3 a good filter during COVID? It'd be absolutely fine. The important bit on the FP211 bit is the P3 bit. That is the bit that means it's, you know, particle level free, same as P100 in the States. Very good level of particle protection. What's good as well, I don't know if it's the same with all FP211 filters, but I think all the FP211 filters I've gotten looked at are all 40mm GOST, not NATO, meaning they fit both GOST and NATO masks. Because FP211s were like the industrial versions of the FP5s, essentially, when Marspol was doing all their filters. But I've got FP211s in a couple of different configurations, you know, some like ABE ones. One's a weird one. One I've got is a blue one, because it's... do I have the MP5 stored in here, or is it somewhere else? Because otherwise I'd show it on the stream. But the interesting one is the one that came with my MP5 was actually not an FP5 filter. It was an FP211, and it was with the blue band on, which is for one of like the lesser seen chemical agents. Right, I think the chat's frozen again, so let me close and reopen it. It's non-stop doing that today. Yeah, it all turned out fine, David. So unless anything more comes of it, you know, it was all fine. No, I don't sell masks, as Peach says, but when all this coronavirus stuff is over, I would probably actually sell some of them just to clear some space. And if I sold them to people, I'd probably want to sell them to people I know are all right, you know, just in case some of the people, you know, buying them, trying to buy them to dox me or something. But I'd probably sell them quite reasonably. Like if I was selling an S10, it would probably be £30 to £50 with the carrier, with the mask, with the filter and all that. You know, if I sold them my spare S10s, because I'm not going to price gouge on them. I just sell them for a reasonable price if I was selling them to people. But with all the stuff at the moment, I've got no interest in selling them. Altrix, thank you very much. He said, if you could find me a cheap XM28 or even sell me yours, I owe you. As I've only got one XM28, I wouldn't be selling that one, but you'd probably find it easier to get one in the States than I would here, because I've only ever seen two XM28s for sale in the UK. One was the one I bought in an auction. The other was a badly damaged XM28 I bid on, but didn't go more than £60, and then somebody else got for, I think, like £70 or something. And I don't know what their top bid was, but I didn't really want to spend a lot on a really damaged one. I don't sell Secure Mindset. I don't sell the masks as an actual proper, you know, business. It's just if I sold any of the surplus ones I've got. Yeah, I can't hold it up on the stream though, Roman, because that breaks YouTube's policies. But yeah, it's my deactivated Yugoslavian M72 RPK. I think it's called the M72 AB1. It's the weird one that is the one that's got a folding skeleton stock on an RPK. So you've got a really big, long, heavy AK barrel, RPK barrel, but on a folding underlever stock AK. Again, I've got no interest in doing that secure mindset because that makes me less impartial, doesn't it, when I'm just giving my opinions? Yeah, exactly. That's the thing with what Mike's saying and what my views are. Is that, you know, the police have to do a job, don't they? If they check you out and it turns out, you know, you're not harming anybody, you know, but if by doing that they do catch the people who are going to cause harm to other people, that's fine. As long as the police are, you know, polite, don't try to intimidate you. Like I said, got no problem with them. They're just doing their job at the end of the day. You know, and I do think some of the people that moan about the police would still end up phoning the police if they had a problem, you know. So it does seem a bit hypocritical when, not for regular subscribers, Alex, but donators, if they're through Patreon and they message me on Patreon or in a super chat and then give me their ID. Is the FX Wildcat a crossbow? I've used a few of like the ones with like cat in the name crossbows, like see you chicken. But apparently, yeah, Uber on your knuckle dusters, I assume. Yeah, like good cats no advert says. All right, Marcus. The police didn't seize any masks from me, sausage. I don't know if there's people who seem to be implying that now, but no, the police did not seize any masks from me. I know the police in some countries have seized masks where people have stolen mask shipment from hospitals, like complete pricks, you know, and then the police get them for it, which is good because the doctors need a mask. But the police were just asking a few questions to me based on radiological stuff. No, I've not got a Wildcat bullpup PCP. The two air rifles I've got, which are in the gun safe in the other room, is the yeah, I definitely want to do that, Roman. That would be great fun. But yeah, that guy says check out his profile pic. Is it somebody with a 3M mask on? I can't really see it from how small the picture is. But yeah, big thanks to everybody that's donated. I appreciate it. But yeah, what was the thing I was saying before I got sidetracked? But let me go back to the chat and see if I can figure out what it was that all right. I might have to close and reopen the pop-out chat again. Well, I'd rather just sell them for the reasonable prices they're worth if I get rid of any of my masks, as a few people have already asked me. But at the moment, my priority is if any of the masks that don't really have collector's value I've got, if they were needed by doctors, I would give them to doctors. But suddenly, as we were saying, there's so much red tape in the way of doing that. Right. With UK DAC laws, now bear in mind, Vijay, when I bought all my DACs, they were ones back probably a couple of laws ago, where they're kind of grandfathered at the moment, which means you couldn't still buy DACs like the type I've got, but you can legally own them. I think by the start of next year, I do have to register them, so I'll do that closer to next year. But with current DAC laws, as far as I'm aware, is other than all the DACs that have been done to them, as long as they fit into the criteria, you can get them. But I don't know what would make a factory deactivated MMG. But like with most DACs, it's where they've like welded a bit of the barrel, you know. It's 22 inches, the falchion blade, I think. Peach, I'll measure for it you later and let you know on the Twitter. Oh, that's great, Cold War. Yeah, but is that in Sweden? But yeah, the thing is, Sweden seems to be doing the right thing. If they've got a lot of these old surplus masks in stock, or, you know, just spare masks, give them to doctors and nurses, you know, because that's a proper use for them. But like I said, the problem seems to be in a lot of places. There's red tape, even with people who might want to donate supplies, or they can't even do it. What about Discord Outrix? Are you saying for me to check Discord? I'll check Discord now if you're PMing me. I don't know if I'd spend 5. I don't know if you want me to read that out, but yeah, that's a lot, Outrix. I got an XM28 for £100, and that was in the UK. But I think at the moment people are just overcharging for them, probably because of the Corona thing. Was that in Finland, not Sweden, with the Fashidas? Oh, okay. So yeah, all my DX are prior to 2019, I think, Mike. All right, cool. I'll look into that, but I'm trying to think of the dates I bought all my DX. A lot of them were bought in about 2012, 2013. The latest DX I think I bought was my PPSH, and that would be 2019 was only last year, wasn't it? So yeah, I've definitely not needed DX since then. Like I said, the Martini Henry Antique is the only one I bought recently. And again, that's legal on the current rules because it's an antique. So there's probably going to be more rules on it if it's... Yeah, I mean, if it just... main thing for me is it just saves me a job registering. But again, it's like if the police wanted to come and look at it, I'd happily let them look at all my DX, you know. I've got the certificates, I think, from in one of the safes. So they're like DX certificates kept safe. But, you know, all of the DX, you know, stored properly in that. You know, I mean, because at the moment you're still allowed to store the axe like that, you know, on a gun board or in the corner of a room. But if I had to, I'd put them all in my gun safe, you know. But like I said, if the police ever wanted to come and look at anything, you know, they're allowed to. Because oh, we've got some more of the weirdo, probably Nazis coming back on. When you say full autonomy guns in the US CDC, does that mean ones that are fully automatic, like proper machine gun type things and assault rifles, not what the media calls assault rifles? Oh, yeah, you said automatic. Red and white object behind me. Whereabouts are you looking? Red and white object. There's the gas mask sign. Well, that's red and orange. There is... This is red and green. If you saw this, it's an ulcerative colitis and Crohn's plushie, because I have UC. It's made by that thing that does the giant microbes. So that's the ulcerative colitis one. It's a bloody colon, basically, if you're looking at that. All right, Shot Zombie, okay? Apparently we weren't Planet Prospective. They might have said we were, but it turns out we definitely weren't. Red and white objects. I'm seeing if there's anything else you can spot there. But as far as I'm aware, there's nothing that's red and white behind me. Yeah, but the thing was with that video, Pazu, I got the impression from the bit of the video you see, they probably knocked on his door and he wouldn't answer him or let him in. Now, if they didn't have a warrant, they shouldn't have not smashed his door down, should they? But he was being really rude to them when they were coming in, you know, swearing at them, insulting them. And that's the thing. I was the complete opposite of that. When the police wanted to speak to me yesterday, yeah, sure, you know, I'm not going to cause problems because I've got nothing to hide. But, you know, exactly what Planet Perspective says, we don't see the beginning. And that's the problem a lot of these. If you cut a video off at a certain point, it can change people's views on it. Ah, you got an Enfield, have you, Shot Zombie? I'm jealous. So, Vijay says it's a modern AK-74M, and from reading up, it's saying that the current laws prevent the import of deactivated weapons made in a factory. What that might be is the thing with replica guns, because I know with replicas, you can't own modern replicas unless you have a UCARA or all the other stuff. But what was translated? All right. Haku Nawaz says, I just purchased a Fushida A4. What's your thought on the mask, my friend? I am a fan of yours, mate. Glad you enjoyed the videos. The Fushidas are lovely masks. It's one of the most comfortable masks I own, the Fushida A4. It's just for me, it makes a really good face seal. We were on about this in a chat the other day, but it's one when basically you tighten the straps slightly, it sticks to your face without you needing to tighten the straps anymore, which you know is a good sign. When I pull my Fushida off, it actually makes a suction cup noise. It's just a really good rubber. They used to have some deactivated L85s, Avon, on D&B Militaria, but they were like several grand, so I'd never want to pay that for them. No, it wasn't anything like swatting prepper. It was very boring compared to that. It wasn't even a warrant type thing. It was just, could they ask me some questions? You know, answer the questions. Okay, have a good evening, kind of thing. You know. Yeah, I don't know, Vijay. You'd have to ask somebody who really knows the law, and that's why I'd never want to advise people on legal stuff. You know, because I don't know the law, and I wouldn't want to get anybody else in trouble with, you know, modern DACs and stuff like that. No, they didn't even say, "Oh, have you got a license?" Um, like somebody said, it could have been a swatted attempt that didn't work. Yeah, but yeah, no, they didn't. They didn't say, "Oh, have you got a license?" Basically, they just wanted to know, you know, what the purpose, if I wanted to tell them for, was owning thorium. You know, to check Geiger counters. How did I store it? In a sealed box. You know, with lead shielding. Okay, fine. Basically, that was most of the questions. I think there might have been a couple of minor ones, but it was a CBRN officer. For the person asking. So it was somebody who knew about chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear stuff, you know, so understood probably like some of the properties around some of it and knew a lot of the laws around some of it, which helps rather than somebody thinking stuff's illegal because they don't know. So it was somebody versed on it, but no, they weren't armed. They didn't even have their stab vest on. I think by the sound of it, they were just finishing their shift and were doing me as like a last call as a nice, easy end of the day. So, you know, it was somebody essentially with like the black police trousers on, you know, a shirt that has the CBRN badge on one arm. They had their radio on, you know, and just wanted to ask me some questions. And I was happy to answer them because nothing to hide, I said. So, you know. Yeah, from what I could gather, Planet Perspective, and I could be totally wrong here, I think it was one of those ones where they almost thought it was a waste of police time, potentially. You know, but they were just checking up on it. No, my dad answered the door and just said the police are here to see you. So, you know, but like I said, I was just happy to answer their questions. But yeah, he also said, "Oh yeah, I bet a lot of people are interested in Geiger counters after the really good Chernobyl TV series." No, they weren't wearing a mask, Thomas. Like I said, it wasn't a serious thing. This is the thing. Whether or not somebody wanted it to be a serious thing, this might be another question. But you know, the police were very casual and relaxed about it. You know, which is what you want, don't you? If you're not really under big suspicion. Well, the thing was, Altrix, it's more you're put on the spot a bit, aren't you? If you suddenly got a cop asking you questions, but no, I don't know about. I know what you're asking there, Nick, but no, it's a bit like a name like Willie Stroker, isn't it? Mike Oxlong. But, And he said, "Oh, you got basically," because he saw the T-shirt. He was like, "Oh, have you been selling many T-shirts as well?" What was Don saying? Sorry, Avon, but I've missed Don's comment there. It sounds like it might have been interesting. Right, Shrimp Zoo, by the way. Apologies if I'm missing comments, but I can never keep up with all of them on the stream. Oh, it's gone to top chat. That's probably why, not live chat. But let's go back to where Avon's comment was. No, they looked at the videos, Han, because like they said, "Oh, well done on your 83,000 followers." The cop said that to me, so you know. I think they looked into it, thought it was nothing serious, but thought they better check, you know, and I'm happy to comply. But, you know, a lot of it could be, in all honesty, if you've got stuff like thorium, that you're just not storing it like an idiot. Because, you know, with anything like that, if you've got thorium, radium, uranium, you know, whatever, any of those stuff, even if you can legally own it, that doesn't mean people won't do stupid shit with it, you know. So, you know. But I don't know what Avon was saying, but if you're saying it comes down to the copper, yeah, it's some cops can be friendly, some cops can't be, you know. I'm saying I'll treat the police with respect, and hopefully they treat you with respect back. I don't have one, Marcus. Well, in all honesty, it was bloody good. I think yesterday that when I shaved and the moustache was uneven, and I did shave it all off in the end, it was very good. I didn't keep anything that looked like a Hitler stash. Because could you imagine if the police were asking you about thorium or CBRN agents, and then you had a Hitler stash? Seemed a bit dodgy, wouldn't it? Hopefully, I hope he enjoys the video, Planet Perspective. But like I said, I've got quite a few old police bits of equipment, like, you know, surplus stab vests and that. And we have had on this channel, like, Glow in the Dark Cop. I don't know if he still views it. And he used to view Mike's video. He used to be in the nuclear constabulary, you know, like the ones that patrolled outside power plants, nuclear power plants, or nuclear sites with guns. But yeah, it's completely fine, Shrimp Zoo. It's just, I think somebody tattletaled on me online. The police just checked it out and realised nothing was going on. I wouldn't mind doing reenactment if there was anything near me, Avon, but thorium CDC is a radioactive earth metal, a bit like uranium. But it up until recently, it's never really been investigated for nuclear power, or they've never done anything serious with it. There might have been a couple of what was it? What was it? I think there was a couple of test reactors made during the Cold War with thorium, but because thorium couldn't be made for nuclear weapons, I think that's why it was never really looked into. I don't know, I think some Jimmy actually watch the videos and enjoy it, you know, like a lot of ex-army people do, or current army people do. You know, again, you can get it for two things, can't you? You can have the police watching you because they want to check if you're up to anything, or you could have them just watching because they think you're entertaining. But if thorium reactors are done well, that could be a really good source of power. But the problem is you do get a lot of people that seem to think thorium is totally clean compared to uranium, and that's not really true. But I don't know if I did see that shot, Zombie, but weirdly enough, my dad was going through a load of old paperwork yesterday or the day before, and he said, "Can I bin this one?" And it was when I bought the certificate from the police, not the police. I've completely fucked up there. It was when I bought the cesium-137, the tiny cesium-137 check source from the States. It came with all the certificates saying it's a proper check source. My dad's like, "Oh, can I throw that away?" I was like, "No, I probably want to keep one like that." And I'm bloody glad I did now, because, you know, if they came to look at it, I can be, "Look, I've even got the paperwork that says this is an all official thing," you know. But yeah, there's been loads of interesting test reactors and that done. Yeah. It is just so I can get the good seal on my face with the gas mask. Yeah, I will do, Marcus. I've done some videos on it, but yeah, I'll definitely do more, like some of the stuff put together in collections. But you know, like I've got some of these, and I think some of these were used by the nuclear constabulary, these sort of dosimeters. Wow, that's only saying 0.04 microsieverts at the moment. That's really low. That almost seems artificially low, but you know, that's quite an impressive low dose, isn't it? In all honesty, I kind of like medieval with a billhook type stuff, I think, for reenactment. Yeah, put them on one of the Discord channel, Shot Zombie. That's all perfectly legal. Please do that. Yeah. But in all honesty, for the people who are wondering, I mean, I don't know, because the police don't tell you when they come over. It could just be something they have, you know, that flags up YouTube videos about keywords like thorium. But yeah, thank you, Rimfer. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the videos. But I think it's that sort of thing, or I think it's one of the people that was being a dickhead to a lot of people was blocked, and then they want revenge. So, you know, then they go, or, you know, I'm going to tattletale on that person. And then because like this is what I've said in the video that comes out tomorrow. I said, if it's a actually genuinely concerned person, Shrimp Jew, it had nothing to do with Corona or masks or anything like that. It was completely to do with my Geiger counters. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, there's two ways, you know, if it was somebody watched a video, didn't necessarily know the laws, was concerned, was generally actually properly concerned, you know, flagged it, good on them, you know, because they're kind of doing their job there, aren't they? Because they could have come across somebody who was genuinely dangerous, and then the police can look into it and say, you know, it's nothing. I'd only be a lot more disappointed if it was somebody who knew I was doing nothing illegal and then still reports it anyway because they want to be a dick, you know. That's the thing. But the thing is, if somebody does that, I imagine it becomes a boy who cried wolf situation sooner or later, where if somebody keeps reporting you for stuff that's actually legal and the police keep checking it, I'm sure eventually the police will go, right, we just can't be asked to check that person anymore. No, they didn't even want to see him, Shrimp Zoo. I said they could see all of them if they wanted to, and they said, nah, it's fine. You know, they just spoke to me in the front room. You know, it was more just... Now, the cop actually said to me, you know, it is a bit Big Brother, I can understand that. But, you know, so I said, well, you know, I put videos on YouTube, I'm sure people watch them, you know. Back in, like, 2010 or something, Rocky Man, I just find a lot of old military stuff interesting. Ginger counters. Cheers, E and D. But yeah, no Geiger counters. Yeah, if it is somebody being genuinely malicious handlock art in that degree, then I think that should happen. But no, because they saw my YouTube videos and all that, Aldrich. But I think it was more just something got flagged up. Yeah, dust masks are better than nothing Roblex when it comes to Corona. At least reduce your viral load. But I think it was just to check everything was fine. And I know other people on YouTube have said similar things to happen to them in comments. But like I said, it's not worried me at all because it's a bit unsettling when it first happens to you. Yeah, Shrimpzoo says I am Shrimpzoo. Yes, he is. Ben Blogs and Game found me from a Scope review back in 2014. Ooh, no, I'm not, Jay. I'm not really at all. But this is the thing, I think it was just, it's almost like a courtesy call type thing, really. But it depends what it is, Operator Steve-O. With most masks, there weren't fakes made of them, just because Brittany says, if you say Tom, I well like this. What, Tom? Hello, Tom, is in the name, Tom? Oh, you're only joking, Jay. The problem is, Jay, some people really don't know. Because the problem is, I think, with a lot of radiation stuff, yeah, it was actually a CBRN cop rim, for that was a nice thing. Obviously, he knew his stuff, and he was talking to me a little bit about the Chernobyl TV series. But I think from what I could gather from his attitude, it was, we're just checking this out. We don't think it's anything serious. And I was like, look, I don't have anything, to hide, so look at anything you want. But they didn't even want to go that far, Yeah. Jabberwocky says, using a ginger counter in Ireland is pointless. It is overloaded all the time. Swords are legal in the UK, Bram, as long as they're not like a shitty bit of stainless steel. You can't go waving one around in the street, but owning it in a private collection. Oh, Shrimpzoo, they said why, because, the stuff was on YouTube. And, it just come to their attention. That's how they worded it, I think. No, it was my dad that answered the door, and he's just like, oh, the police here to see you. And then my dad was talking to the cop about how my dad used to be in the police ages ago. But my dad wasn't actually a, officer type cop. He was a person who worked in, the offices for the police. But, Yeah, hopefully you're in for. But that was the thing. That's the attitude I have with people like that. If they're just doing their job, why give them hassle, Like the thing, if he wanted to, I could have gone, right, this was this one used in this year by this person. Because at one point he was writing down, all right, cheers. Shots for the people asking about Discord, it's for donators. But yeah, it does, because it's merch. You can see it below. But yeah. What was the person saying? Sorry. I've lost where I was. But yeah, he was writing down some of the Geiger counters I had. And once I went through a list, I think he just stopped writing them down because he realized I had quite a lot, and it was probably this person has the radioactive material because, they've got this stuff, and I'm sure if they watch the videos, they would notice I have got a lot of Geiger counters. But there's actually crates full of Geiger counters over there. Look, we can have a look at, if you want. Just have this one not put away. Nice old Soviet DP63A. If it wants to focus on it. Oh, the needle's at 0. That's all right then, look. Yeah, there we go. I don't actually know on a lot. What was that log? I'll beep. Oh, it was this logging a decimeter after several hours of being on. Not decimeter, logging 1 microsievert after hours of being on. Yeah, it's the shots on me. This is lovely fucking bakelite on the everything about the DP63 is lovely in my opinion. Let me get out the case, but I bought 2 of these and I'm giving one away to a mate because the second one I bought was in nowhere near as good condition as this one. See you, that guy. Get rid of what, Shrimpzoo? Nothing I own is illegal. This is the point I keep making. If you know, No, Samuel, because what it is, for the people who don't understand, is that I've got Geiger counters and I've got radioactive material, but all the material I own is legal and it's like stored properly and everything. But I think it's more they just wanted to check up, was I being sensible with it, because somebody had probably complained. A warrant for my mask, stand and deliver your mask or your life. But yeah, DP63s are lovely Bakelite cases. I wish the Soviets made more ones like this, but this was the Soviet one that basically did 0 to 1.5 Rontgen and 0 to 50 Rontgen. And it's a weird one where the Geiger-Müller tubes are just in the literally the bottom of the case like that. You've got that opens the bit with the check source. Well, not the check source, sorry. It's the bit that opens like the gamma or beta flap type thing. You know, when it's open, you get beta come through. And it's, yeah, just a really nice, very retro, you know, type counter. But yeah, sadly, the second one of these I bought was in nowhere near as good condition. It wasn't in working condition, and the case wasn't as good either. But the bottom half of the case was in better condition. So what I did, because they don't have matching serial numbers on them, I took the bit of all the electronics on, that's the top section, and put it in the bottom case from the other one. You know, so it's two good bits of condition Bakelite. No, they didn't have a warrant, but I let them in. But they weren't very interested in seeing stuff, Sam. Basically, I think they quite quickly realised, I assume, that I was no harm to anybody, probably only a harm to myself if I was to anybody. You know, and they very quickly, it was just a single officer and he didn't even have his stab vest on, you know, very quickly left. But, you know, it was a nice chat. It was a bit unsettling suddenly having the police turn up and ask you a couple of questions, but, you know. If you can still get them, Oak, but it's hard to find them, the ex-police stuff that gets sold as surplus is very good like that, because the police normally wear stab vests here. Spicy rocks, Dimitri. But yeah, the thing is, like I've said, because I know I'm doing videos on them, yeah, I should have told them to subscribe and hit the like button. I've got a lot of World War II helmets and stuff like that, Paul, and like World War II gas masks, but I don't have any World War I stuff. No, I did not hear about that Grobnob, but I heard the US has been seizing stuff that was going to some countries for themselves. What, the merch one, Ian? Wow, good on you if you get one. No, they didn't wear PPE, but they observed social distances. I went forward to shake the cop's hand, you know, and then, like, oh, social distancing, you know. I mean, whether or not they might have thought on my hand might have been a deadly level of radiation, I don't know, but, Sparrow says, like the old Lamberetta Bakelite tachometers, they had broad dials. Yeah, I love this old Bakelite stuff. Has a bit of a smell to it as well, doesn't it? But yeah, Bakelite is lovely. It's one of those things that I'm annoying. You know, I'm annoyed that so many things now use cheap plastics compared to Bakelite, because Bakelite is a lovely thing. But yeah, it's got all the old manual with this one. You know, all the... I've done a video on it if you want to watch it, but... The DP63 is like one of the lesser-known Soviet Geiger counters, and it is a Geiger counter, not an ion chamber. How it works is it has two different range GM tubes that basically sit at the bottom there, you know, on the circuit. That button powers 1.5, the other one powers the 50 Rontgen one, and if you do that, it does the circuit check. Hang on, if I hold that there so you can see it. That does the circuit check. Normally, it's easier to read that because it did have a back plate, but because the back plate was radium, I took it out so I could store it properly and use it as a check source. But yeah, I could, if I open this one up again for whatever reason, I'll probably cut a little bit of white card to size and stick it in there so you can read it easier. But yeah, that's the thing I love about the CM3 masks. You're right, Vanessa, is this Bakelite thing compared to the Polish MC ones. Oh, yep. One of my mates shot Zombie has a Bakelite Soviet bayonet. So you can get them in the UK. I can't have, obviously, an AK with Bakelite unless it was deact. But in my drawer, I've got the East German bayonet somewhere that's Bakelite. Hang on. But it's black Bakelite. Yeah, at some point I'll definitely get one of the other thing I really like is, you know, that kind of chipboard stuff they did. Yeah, I might get one, Marcus, and then try and turn it into a makeshift rush. The light's not very good for you to see it, but this has got like one of those dark kind of see that? Got one of those like dark kind of chipboard laminate type things on this bayonet, which I like. That's a Czech bayonet. But yeah, somewhere in this drawer, I do have the East German AKM bayonet. Here it is. And that's got the Bakelite, but it's black Bakelite, so it doesn't look as good on this one. But yeah, at some point, because they aren't that expensive, I might actually end up getting a regular AK or AKM or AK-74 bayonet with all the just wanted to know about my radiation check sources, basically. TSJ, Petto, because the thing is, they're legal to own, but I think they wanted to know more why I had them. And then, you know, when it all comes down to checking Geiger counters now, I think they quickly realised I'm not going to hurt anybody. You know, they'd watch my videos. They knew I was called Weapons and Stuff 93 on the videos, but the guy wasn't wearing a stab vest. So obviously, they didn't think I was, you know, a problem. No, Samuel, that was just a regular delivery, that one. This was in the evening. It would have been when I'd have been streaming normally. That one. Oh, I think I've gone well over an hour now, haven't I? Oh, yeah, I love the red colour to those things. But yeah, so I do love Soviet Bakelite. It is something quite special. Right, let me just put this Geiger back away. So I'll have to fold up this diagram. Tech sheet for it. So the thing when I'm folding these up, I'm never quite sure which way they were meant to fold. No, it's definitely not meant to fold that way. Thank you, Mr. Raymer. He said, think your videos are brilliant. Glad you enjoy them. Alright, that was the way it folded up. Right. I didn't want to like bend the paper because it's like an old antique type thing, you know, and like cause it to rip. But yeah, how these work is you've got your little case. The little scrape bit at the bottom is to allow beta radiation through if you open the little flap inside the Geiger. And yeah, that goes in there like that, and it sort of slots in, because when it's in there, the button actually prevents it from falling out, look, which is quite cool with these. Well, it does, unless you shake it, but thank you very much, not Stephen Colbert. He said, got a few C2A1 filters from 03 marked T. One failed particle test when I tapped it. Reluctant to open the second one. Did manage to get a couple of M40A1 masks and some mop suits, glove boots. That's cool. I don't know what the T would mean, but yeah, it's a shame your one didn't work, but the one you opened, but hopefully the others are all right. But it could just be, yeah, the particle stuff at the top. Yeah, as Pete said, essentially nothing. Just some pleasant words were exchanged. And I don't mean that like insults. I just literally mean they were polite, I was polite, you know, kind of thing. But yeah, thank you, not Stephen Colbert. But yeah, hopefully the other stuff you've got works fine. But right, I'm going off now, Ultrix, anyway, because I was going to finish the stream like 20 minutes ago and I'm still on. But yeah, thanks everybody. But yeah, if you've come on and haven't heard the entire rundown, because I've explained it a few times, but obviously quite rushed. What you'll just need to do is watch the video tomorrow. It's all explained there, and I'll try and keep up with the comments on tomorrow's video, where I, you know, just let people know as and when on there. You know, I'll let you know if there's any developments to it, but hopefully there isn't. But yeah, I'll check Discord now before I go shot zombie, and then I'm off. All right, see you all. Thanks. Have a good evening. Goodbye. Stay safe. All that usual stuff. Right.